Gotcha. So I got your attention, so that's the way I usually do it. Okay? Let the gentleman, yeah, now you're doing it right. Did you go further?
Yes.
Yes, you should have. That's it, perfect. Oh, you just missed a valuable exercise. So in less than a minute, you have increased your perception or your visualization, your indications of what you can do, okay? So that is an exercise to show that how powerful your mind is, all right? And that is what I'm trying to teach people, is that it's, your mind doesn't know what is actuality and what's unreal. And that's what's dangerous. And in a way, unfortunately, certain children are using the video games and perceiving that's that, well, you know, violent games. Not you, I know. But violent games, how, that's why they're getting into trouble, I'm afraid, and getting worse. Okay, so here we go. I know we've got 2015 predictions, but I'm going to give you a few very, very important signs. I call them signs or symptoms. And tell me, if you don't want to raise your hand, that's fine. But if this is affecting you, okay? First of all, I will ask you, who has been going through, I would say the last 2.25 years, the worst times in their life they've gone through? As if things have got so compacted that you don't know what's going on. It may not been, you know, as if you've had the worst physical or something, but either lawsuits or medical problems or just problems coming out from nowhere, all right? And who here has been going through such a depression, and depression in the book, Bada Bing Bang BOOM, that's one of the books I'm putting out. The depression chapter is so large because there are different forms of depression, there are different layers of depression. So there's one where, who's been going through this in the last, I would say, 5.5 months, where they would literally go into, you could call it a funk, where they're frozen. They are so, they don't want to do anything. They just are literally like in a stasis. They don't want to go forward, they want to go back, they just sit there. And nothing, they don't feel motivated, nothing. Anybody? That they feel so, you know, in that.
Or want to, but just can't.
No, you just can't seem, it's as if your autonomic reactions are not there. And you don't care, you like it that way. And you're happy. Because it seems that you don't want to be pushed into a decision. Who here has been clearing their closets out? Anybody? I'll be surprised not. Yeah.
I'm clearing the
Yeah,
whole house.
that's it. All right, yeah, closets out. Who's been finding that they're letting go, or even, all right, I'm just walking away, from friends and family? You're being more particular with who you want to be around. Don't worry, not those two. They're kind of inching away from you. But no. But who's been really getting angry from 0 to 2,000 in a few seconds, and they don't know why? It's like uncontrollable anger, and you can't restrain it. It's so suffocating at times. Sometimes you're actually enjoying being angry. Sounds awful. But then you are, it's uncontrollable. And who has been finding, on the other hand, people who have been, how can I say, who they find they're around these people, that they're angry, and they're continuing to be angry, and they're yelling at you, and you're agreeing with them just to shut them up, basically. But they're really, and they're still going on. Anybody? It's just, they're way offline, right? Okay, who's been, and these are all these signs, I've got 130 of them in this book, and this is what I call phase 5, and this is only the beginning of it. Who would say that their likes and dislikes have changed so much, they're not the same? They're noticing in the last few months, and this is kind of transitioning to phase 6, that their likes, normally last year, weren't the same most of their life, but they're changing and they're transitioning. Anybody? Good. Now, the Bada Bing Bang book, there are 2 books. The book Succession is a general one, but the Bada Bing Bang book is about phase 5 because it's such a crucial phase. How I do, I know some of you have been clients of mine, but I am a clear cognitive. Okay, so let me explain. A medium communicates, and it's not the size I'm wearing, but a medium communicates with people who have passed on the other side, okay? And they do it that way. A clairvoyant receives messages through pictures. A clairaudio hears it. A clairsentient feels it. Sometimes you get a bit too sensitive.
And of course,
Yeah, you're very, very sensitive. But you can get very stubborn as well. Is that true? Hmm? No. There's a bit of, when you want something, you just put your foot down, right? You're very directed, right? Okay. So anyway, so that's clear that. So all of that, and psychic is kind of a generality. I don't like the word, to be honest. But I'm all of that, plus when I'm doing readings or teaching classes, I actually get it in taste and smell. So when I'm doing a reading, if I kind of pause, that really irritates me when I have to convert it from taste and smell into words. And that's the only reason I can slightly hesitate, right? But it's just because I'm trying to collect it, and don't ask me why. I think they just love irritating me, and that's why they do it. So anyway, by the way, I'm sorry, here we go. All the I call them mafia mothers and grandmothers, they're the ones who push in and say, I want this message delivered. Do you have a decision to make? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you will by the end of August, but you have been trying to make it since last November. Is that right? Yeah. By the way, you can't lie to me. I used to tell my husband that when we were engaged, because we got worried a lot. Anyway, seriously. So don't worry about it. You are overthinking things. And that's another thing. People are overthinking. Stop overthinking. Who's been worrying far more than they've worried it more than anything before? It's been getting too intense. We're getting into, you're worrying about things you can't control. All right? Fear. Guess what? The more you fear something, you did the arm exercise, right? Guess what? The more you fear something, the more it will be in your life. The more you try and control something, you have less control over it. Remember that. All the controllers, and in my classes I usually pick on the controllers and the logics. So just let it go. You can't control it. Bless you. So it is the 2015, and I'm afraid there have been quite a few. There's a clipboard going around. If you want, I can send you the links of all the predictions I've made in October, and things like the. In October, I made a prediction that Social Security numbers will be blasted out of there, but it will through the medical company, Blue Cross or one of those. Unfortunately, it happened. Tornadoes, we're going to be getting far more tornadoes, and F3s through. There will be one F5 coming in. Unfortunately, that's true. Snow as late as end of May, which it just did. That's the weather, but I go over. There's other things I'm afraid of, and it's about children, and that are getting far more active in ISIS. So I'm warning parents that if you are finding them that they're changing, and they're not the same person they are, they've been very more secluded, please go check, because not to just presume that they're in that phase, that they just want to be alone. So that is going to be a big problem here, more in America and Australia, and England, and a few other countries in Europe. So be careful, because these are the kids who are watching TV, YouTubes and things like that, but they're actually being engineered to that mentality. And no offense to boys here, but quite frankly, they don't really mature until about 27, 28. You've got some time. So basically, it doesn't. They're not really cognitive. Don't worry, you can beat me up later. Anyway, so this is all the. These a ton of predictions. I try to upload. I just uploaded another set about a month ago. But who's been worrying about the economy? Yeah, and where it's going? Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people, oh yeah, where's silver going? Where's gold going? I didn't mention that. But what I'm saying here is, what is the lesson here that we're doing here, the phase 5? It's about clearing, cleansing, and clarifying. Clearing your closet out, right? Getting rid of friends, the people who use you. Who here has found that they are also finding that I'm not going to accept less? Forget it. This is what my standard is, and why am I accepting less? Every time you accept less, guess what? You're going to get even less than that. So what I'm saying to you is your challenge, your personal challenge, is not be a blank blank, whatever that means, but you know what I mean? I don't want, there's children here. So what I'm saying is that don't accept less than what you deserve. If you are promised something, you should be given it, all right? And if you do, what are you doing? You're lessening yourself, right? You're not only accepting less, but you're, oh, that's okay. Don't be British, for the Lord's sake. Because that's how you're kind of schooled. Oh no, it's, you know, you're always kind of, oh yes, you're in humility all the time. No. No, this is about you finding out what you want this phase. We are on a massive, as well as an energy shift, which is how I read. By the way, I don't go through angel guides or anything like that. I am pure energy. I go through energy, and that's why when you have a reading with me for the first time, I'll go backwards, whether you like it or not, just to get a confirmation of where you have been, but also those times I'm bringing up are where things that are affecting you now, specifically, all right? So beware about that, and I don't mess around. I'm brutally honest. I don't take your face off. I've only taken one guy's face off. He was okay with it. So, but I will, you know, come for the jugular. If you need to. I'm not saying I do, but if you need to. So basically, what we're saying here is do not, we're at a stage where we are developing so fast on a higher energy shift. Who's been noticing that there's more activity in their houses? Anybody?
Spirit activity?
Oh, spirit. Yeah, that things are moving, or you're feeling people around you. All right. This is part of this energy shift. Who's been noticing that their intuition is getting more intense and higher?
Dreams.
Yes, dreams. Through dreams, it would depend. You're a clairsentient. You should be. You're getting a lot. You both of you, but you specifically. We're all going and growing in levels, so you need to realize that this is information. The book, Bada Bing Bang Boom, is not a book just to flick through. If you want it, and I have a huge thing saying, don't put the book down if you think this. It is for the serious people who want to change their lives. I'm pushing you, just like in my classes, to learn about yourself, to increase your intuition, to see who you really are and want to be, because this is the phase. It's as if you're being taken layers off your face. You're being debarked. You're debarking at this stage where you're growing to such an incredible, I don't know, rate, but potential, everything that you've ever wanted to be. And we can, that's how when I do readings, I see all this fantastic stuff in every one of you. But we accept less. Oh no, I can only do this because I was told that. Oh, I can only do this because that's what society tells me I can only do. I can only do this. So therefore you're so retreated from your true life and who you can be. You know, you're a shadow. And that's why people, and I hate to say, I've said this on the predictions for how many years, where I said that who's noticed more suicides? Suicides are really increasing. And it's going to go on because people are afraid of their own future. And that really, I mean, how many times I've said this, where there's one person, I don't know how people find me, but he called and he said, oh, was there a little girl here? I guess she's gone. Good. But he, you know, the first thing I said, I go backwards. He was calling from mine. I said, you had a gun in your mouth and that was it. You were going to kill yourself. But the gun didn't go off, did it? This happened 2 weeks ago. And he said, how in heaven's name did you know? I said, you think you're alone? No, you're not. And I said, the gun went off later, didn't it? And he said, yes, it did. So it shows that one, I told you I can see everything. But two, that this guy thought he was alone. Unfortunately, he lost his mother in the towers, and that's why he couldn't stand it. But it's just a lot of this interaction that you're going to be feeling. we are not only growing in such an incredible way, all right, and into incredible human beings, but on a parallel level, on a kind of paradoxically, we are on a terraformer. We're going through a massive terraformer of the planet. Do you know what that means? A terraformer is a new renewal of everything on the planet. Who's noticing far more earthquakes? Activity. You go to USGS. I have told about earthquakes. I've said this 2 years ago that you're going to be seeing more higher vibration earthquakes. In the this year it was 8s, and how many 8s? 9s. I hate to say we're expecting. All right, I won't tell you. It's already on some of the videos, but these are all what to expect. Don't hear, don't worry, don't start packing and leaving for, I was going to say Alaska, forget it. Alaska's getting worse. But by the way, Alaska's actually getting, the little strip is going to get more. But we are experiencing far more weather changes. I've been unfortunately accurate, there's going to be higher heat waves, earlier heat waves. Let's see, how can I say this? The whole weather formation has changed, all right? Solar activity is going to be far more. It's not an 11-year cycle anymore. I said that before, and it's proving. I'm afraid solar activity has increased. It should have been on the downward spiral last year, but it's still up there. So everything's changing, and this is what this energy, why the tectonic plates are moving more so. But why I'm giving you not information about predictions to scare you, it's to what? Empower you, because with information you can be proactive and either, you know, oh, there's possibly an earthquake. Okay, is it going to hit me? No. But the book is there to say, okay, is this going to happen to you? And you have to trust your own intuition. I want you to grow. And I want you to trust it. So it's going to be a kind of, it's literally an interactive book. It's a conversation with you and I. And I'm going to be just nagging, but no. Just teaching you, and it's a ton of exercises, a ton of tools. I hate those books where they say, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And then they say, well, thank you, goodbye. Thank you, ma'am, and that's it. They don't tell you what to do, and they leave you in fear. That's not what it is. It's about giving you tools to work with on your own. Okay? So any questions? Yes, Anna.
The California drought?
Yeah, now I did say actually the last video, and if anybody's interested on that last video, the signboard if you want. The last one, the California drought, I did say that May was going to be, actually April was hardly anything, but I said that May was going to be some rain, but actually June is going to be rainier than all of April. So we are going to experience more rain, but it won't be enough to saturate the troughs, okay, the reserves. We're really going to see by June, July, and August could be a bit more rain, but it won't really recover until next 2 years from now, okay? But it's nothing to really be concerned, and that's another thing. If you worry about something, remember the ones who did the exercise, the more you worry, your mind is a magnet. You worry about something, guess what? It's going to manifest in your life, right? Who said, oh, why do I always date these guys or whatever? And they suddenly end up dating the same guy all the time. Because you're drawing that energy in, okay? So be careful. Don't worry about the droughts though. The fires are a bit more of a concern, and I need to say just a bit more north towards Oceanside, there are going to be some fires near a Carlsbad in between Encinitas or something, okay? That'll happen late July, August. But it's it's really on the dry zones. It's not any, maybe one house will be affected, but that's it. I did say there was going to be an occurrence at Camp Pendleton, I'm afraid. But the one that I had earlier, it wasn't what I saw. There's going to be something else, I think. Anything else? Questions? Yes?
Yeah. Do you get any feeling or anything between September 15th and November 15th?
Regarding? There's a lot.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
any
All he
specific-
said it was from a Buddhist monk, and he said it's big.
September through?
It's between September 15th and November 15th. All he said was it's big.
I would say round about November, you've got a lot of changes on the earth. Okay, now I keep on saying, and I hate to say that this is going to increase because of the elections anyway. The economy of Europe is going to, I wouldn't say collapse, but it's going to crunch. And I have said that in a few videos, so watch it. But that economy combined with our election for next year, which is already affecting us, and the world market, is going to crunch again. And again, why are you worrying about everything else except yourself? Does the economy, yes, it could affect your job, but how much? This is why I'm asking questions, real questions of you. Why are you worrying about world economy? Is it, okay, how much is it really affecting you? First, worry about what you need to do. Do I have a paycheck tomorrow? Am I insured against having less money in the future? Am I doing something to protect that, all right? Or whatever, living in a cave. Is there a cave around that I need to move to? Whatever. But it depends on the prepper mode mentality you're in. But literally, be proactive, okay? But don't anticipate, because there are going to be huge shifts on the earth, and I'm afraid that includes huge F4s and F5 tornadoes. The season is going to be so full of dynamics. People said I was crazy when I said there were going to be earthquakes in Australia. There's been a few thousand since that I've said. People said I was crazy when I said there's going to be hurricanes off the west coast. And yes, one is going to come into Los Angeles more than us, but we are going to have more, far more sequences of, hurricanes on the west coast, okay? So this is all going to be one of those. It's not tied to one specific event.
Okay, is it that the space, where we're going into space right now, that's activating all kinds of stuff?
It's not space. You have to understand how I read is through energy.
Oh, okay.
Energy is changing.
Right.
Who agrees?
Oh,
This is
yeah.
a package of energy.
Yeah.
This is a package of energy. Everything's energy, right? My voice is energy. Yes.
Right.
So everything, sorry, hold on. Energy is constantly changing, but we have come to a point, a critical point. And that's what the epoch succession's about. It's a critical point of mass where it can only hold so much before it explodes. And now it's tightening and it's exploding, but it's going to generate where we are going to be at a different level of consciousness, all right? And you're already experiencing that. And that's why you'll find so many more spiritual, people who are wanting to write spiritually, connect spiritually, and be more cognitively aware of everything. They hunger information. I don't know how people find me, but they find me. How, are you meant to be here to listen to only a snippet of it or the whole lecture? You understand? Something is obviously connecting with you for you to be here, right? Like your information. Now, hold on. For the lady in the purple, is there a question you need to ask? What happened in March?
Voice questions.
Okay, well, are you always doing things for others, but you forget about yourself?
Yeah, I work on that all the time.
Yeah. Well, you need to work on it a bit more, but just to say, it's okay, I can accept. And this is this change again where I said, stop accepting less. They depend on you, it's not the other way around. And you keep on giving and giving, and how much is left? Nothing. And that's why you're tired. Oh, this is the big one. Who here, I'll get to you, sorry. Who here has been so tired and sleepy during the day they want to crawl underneath their desk that they're working at, and they don't care. They just want to go to sleep. That's part of it. We're cocooning. We are changing. You know what happens in a cocoon? Do you realize that a caterpillar melts down to its cellular level before it actually reforms into a butterfly? That's what we're doing. We're cocooning into a massive change. So this is nearly 140 signs that are indicative of your life. And you can tick it off and say, okay. And I'll explain it. I'll give you why and say, oh, is this true? But then I've got to know, I want you to have your own journal saying, is that true of me? Well, it's slightly changed. So I want you to not self-analyze, but it is basically, what do I need? What do I want in my life? Why am I going to be happy? Who am I going to be happy with? Do you understand? Sorry, your question.
Why is there so much a crumble, a shift, and abuse in of power and in authority?
What do you think? Do you realize we're a complacent society? We've got to such a level of, oh, I can go out and buy pizza, I can get this. I'm, security blanket, I've got the TV, I've got the remote, I've got this, I've got that. We are complacent. So what happens with what I call the rubber band theory? It's going to get worse and worse and worse and snap. It'll slam you and it'll wake you. How can it be a revelation to you and wake you up with certain things going, oh, just a little bit? It's going to get worse. That's why government or any kind of bad issues, child abuse, it's horrible. We've been living with it for centuries. But it's only now coming up. You understand? Do you see where I'm going?
I understand. I mean, it's because I'm a victim myself, when it comes to the judicial, legal, issues. And it's like, okay, I haven't done anything wrong, but it's coming to slap me in my face. And just watching TV, it seems like it's, abuse of power, against certain people, more so than others.
I know, and that's why, and I predicted all the riots and everything about the interactions. It's only going to get worse because how can it not be rectified if it isn't presented in a right way? Do you understand? In a more intense way? And I said there are going to be, part of the signs is who's been going through horrible medical issues, came out of nowhere. Weird computers collapsing, I've gone through 5. All kinds of legal issues that you never even saw, right?
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere and slapped you in the head, whether you liked it or not. These are all things to wake you up, that, okay, what do you need? And if you play the victim, don't come to me, because I'll say you are playing the victim. You start empowering yourself, okay, how can I get out of this situation? You understand? It's all about taking power back and moving forward. I'm sorry, I'm way over, am I? Do apologize. I'm sorry, you should have stopped me, I apologize. Thank you, this gentleman has been so patient, I'll get out. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.